Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is the Thursday edition of Vuka Nazo, your morning news analysis show. Glad to be back in my little makeshift home studio. Indeed, we finally have power in my area, so welcome to it. My name is Sikhle Ngobese. Remember, if you want to get in touch with us here at the Big Daddy Liberty Show, find us on our website at www.bigdaddyliberty.com. There, of course, you can also find out how you, yes, you, can contribute to the show. And it's as little as 100 Rand a month, guys, is more than enough to help me start building a team around us that help us build this channel into something more substantive. With that being said, how about we get into the substantive meat and bones of things and get straight into the news. All right, to begin here this morning as I take you to Mpumalanga. Goodness me, we've been in Mpumalanga quite a lot this week on Vuka Nazo. This time, more stories of corruption. Yes, corruption. Surprise, surprise. That South African bedfellow that is corruption. This time, 3 officials in Mpumalanga arrested over a suspected 60 million rand fraud, theft, and money laundering case. Goodness me, here we are. Ordinary South Africans struggling to make ends meet. That's you and me, of course. But clearly, government officials, in their collusion with the criminal elites in this country, are drawing multiple salaries. Indeed, salaries of in the millions, if these allegations are to be proven true. And look at how pitiful they are as they got arrested. Good job, by the way, to the Hawks. Again, I've always said this on the show. I will always be supportive of those elements within law enforcement that are actually trying to do their job under very difficult circumstances, given the asshat that leads them and their crooked management at times that perverts the entire system. But that's not the issue right now. Kudos to these cops from the Hawks, as I said. As you can see them proudly there showing off their arrests. But the write-up, of course, I spotted in News 24, basically giving a bit more details, saying this. Right, so Captain Dineo Sekhotori of the Hawks in Mpumalanga said more arrests were being expected, and we hope they will make more arrests, with the Mpumalanga Hawks having arrested 3 suspects working for the municipality of Mbombela Traffic Department, to be specific, as well as the White River Traffic Department, and they're being charged, of course, with fraud, theft, and money laundering to the amount of 60 million rand. They are, of course, appearing in court today, end of quote. Now, again, as I conclude this particular story, for me, it just comes down to the kind and caliber of country we are. I keep saying this to you, that where you and I are barely making ends meet, there is a criminal elite, a criminally intent layer, a leech layer, if you will, in the society, who literally, on the one hand, dig into our pockets and thieve our money away via taxes. Yes, hashtag taxation is theft. Y'all forgot we're classical liberals on the show. On the one hand, as I said, these government officials, political elites, and politicians thieving from us via the taxes. And then, of course, actual thieving, where they collude the criminals and exercise their state power in order to steal and violate the property rights of citizens via theft, money laundering, and fraud, as is the case now. Something has to give, and what really has to give is us, you and me, supporting those law enforcement in this country who are trying to clean up this country. You've got to support them, not only by just verbally saying you support those law enforcement, but hey, how about you adopt a cop? You know, get to know your local police station, get to know the officers who are busting ass, as they say in America, in order to keep you safe. Support them, show them that we are behind them 100%, because I can tell you now, once we begin to see the necessary political change, the winds of political change in this country, perhaps even post-2024, we will need every good cop, Hawks officer, and law official, and even security officer to fight back against the scourge of crime. All right, from Mpumalanga, I take you now to Johannesburg. A rather macabre scene greeted the residents of the west of Johannesburg, insofar as 6 bodies were found scattered all over the place on an abandoned mining field in that part of the world. That's just right next to the N1, to be specific. near Bosmont, which is the community, as I said, on the west of Johannesburg. Now, I struggle to even phrase this out insofar as I've been asking the question, when do we begin to take the specter of illegal mining, and specifically Zama-Zama, those illegal miners who come from, as we're told, primarily from Lesotho and other parts of Africa to ply their illegal trade here, violent as it is. When do we begin to take them seriously in this country where law enforcement is capacitated, as it should be, to address this issue? Why is it that we have a situation where the asshat of a police minister, and really a useless individual at that, still gets to keep his job whilst ordinary South Africans are dying on the ground, literally in and around these communities? Was the mass rape of those women the last time we had a situation, that involved Zama-Zamas, and you remember in Krugersdorp, the mass rape of those women. Was that not enough to eventually have someone say, maybe the management of our police, maybe the political leadership of our police is absolutely useless and requires reform? What needs to happen before we see real change being effected in this country in order to capacitate law enforcement, who are probably rearing to go after these guys, but simply either A, do not have the equipment, the support from management, or even the real direction from political leadership, of course, that's led by a certain ass in the hat, as other people have been calling him in this country. I mean, I make fun of this, but really none of it is funny. People are dying, and you're now seeing a case where there is wanton shootouts on these old abandoned mines between these Zama-Zamas, who have now formed not only rival gangs, but actual syndicates with massive links, even political links, back in Lesotho. We'll cover that on this Sunday's episode of Liberty and Friends with journalists who have compiled an investigative series on this issue. But in relation to this particular story, 6 bodies found, a macabre sight, if any, were stumbled across, and the write-up, which I picked up in EWN, had this to say about it. Forensic services were on the scene, of course, as they should be, and planned to remove the bodies only after enough evidence was collected. The police's Brenda Moridili said they were monitoring the area and were keeping a close eye on the mining holes. She's quoted, of course, as saying, "We have the resources that we've received from national offices that are specifically concentrating on the 600 shafts that have been identified in Gauteng." That's Moridili, end of quote. So again, you have a situation where Moridili saying they have the resources, but when you cite numbers like 600 abandoned shafts that need police oversight, I will sharply disagree with her and say likely better resources are required. This is why we've often seen in those few operations that are trying to tackle the Zama-Zamas, it's had to rope in private security and even, of course, community members in order to begin to fight back. Something, as I said, urgently needs to be done. And one thing is definitely for sure, it's not going to be done by a certain asshat police minister. As I have a few questions for the minister, and I'm sure he's going to answer the questions. Dear Minister, yes, you, ass in the hat, or asshat as I like to call you in short, what exactly are you doing to address the spate of Zama-Zamas and their attacks on ordinary citizens in this country? Do you actually know what you're doing?
I don't know.
You don't know? Do you even intend on protecting South Africans from Zama-Zamas?
I don't know.
Really? Well, here's a more apt question. Do you even have a brain?
You know what? I don't know.
Well, that last response probably wraps it up and indeed confirms what the rest of us are thinking. Begicele, you should not be in the position that you're in. You are a crooked cader who's there simply because of your political clout, because I can tell you now, you're definitely not there. You're definitely not there because of your competence on this issue or even leadership of the police. And I'm pretty sure those honest-to-God police officers who work on the ground themselves, although they can't say it, and I'll say it for them, would like you to go. All right, we end today's episode of Vuka Nazo here. this morning on the Thursday edition of the show. Remember, if you want to get in touch with us, it's quite easy. Find us on our website at www.bigdaddyliberty.com. There, of course, you can find our latest videos and, of course, contribute to the show financially. Just scroll to the bottom and see how you can contribute 100 Rand a month towards the show. It really does help the channel. Hey, if you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube in particular, do me a solid favor, subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit that bell notification so that every weekday from 7 a.m. you're notified when Vuka Nazo is on your screens. Happy Thursday, and I'll see you tomorrow.